It's 3:30 someplace. Okay, welcome to the meeting for October 12th, 2016. Please call the roll.
Mr. Cappers.
Here.
Mayor.
Here.
Mr. Wolke.
Here.
Mr. Titterington.
Here.
Mrs. Mahan. Here. Mr. McGarry. Mr. Force. There's a quorum.
Thank you. We have before us the minutes of our September 28th meeting. Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions of those minutes?
We have an amended version, and I will move that we approve them.
There's an amended version. All those in favor for approval of those minutes as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I'm sorry. There was a motion. And
Yes.
Mr. Titterington seconded it.
I did. I wasn't here, but I heard you.
Okay, first matter comes before the Commission's Historic District application, 302 West Franklin Street. Staff have a report.
Yes, we do. The applicant, Michael Williams, who is here in the audience, lives at 302 West Franklin Street and is requesting approval from the Planning Commission to install a shed in the rear yard of the property. Previously, this was brought before Planning Commission in April of 2015. However, due to unforeseen circumstances, the shed was never built. So Mr. Williams is approaching the Planning Commission to once again get historic approval for this shed. The difference this time around, though, is the shed is smaller than it was last time. The colors of the shed will be Ocean Mist. The trim is Devon Cream and Night Owl. Shed features push bar doors, medium gray shingles, aluminum windows with Z-style shutters, and cedar flower boxes. Staff recommends approval. There are sheds located on properties throughout the historic district. The shed has ornamental features which will blend well with the principal building on the lot.
Were the colors the same as the previously approved?
The previous approved colors were a light beige and cream. This time he's made it gray, a light gray and cream, which his house is a light gray also. So,
Were there any other changes besides size and color from our previous application?
no.
So do we have any renderings of the colors?
There's the picture of the shed in your packet, and that's the colors. That's the shed. The only thing that is depicted in this picture that is not being built is the cupola.
I'll move to approve.
Motion to approve. Is there support for the motion?
Second.
Motion and support. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mayor.
Yes.
Mr. Wolke.
Yes.
Mr. Titterington.
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan. Yes. Mr. Cappers.
Yes.
Unanimously approved.
Next matter to come before the Commission is a historic district application for 130 South Walnut Street. Remove 2 chimneys from a church building. Staff have a report.
We do. St. John's has come before the Planning Commission to request these chimneys to be removed. They are at a point of disrepair and are becoming a safety hazard. The OHI does not show these to have any CDF, so staff feels it appropriate at this time to support this. The existing chimneys do not have historical significance, and it will not detract from the integrity of the district. Once down, the area will be basically repaired and will match what's there now as far as roof material.
I see some piping coming out of the chimney. Is that for a furnace flue, or is that functional in some fashion?
There was talk, did we ever discover if they're going to have to move that heat unit that was in the basement where that flue came up?
We're going to replace that with an electric. No, we're going to replace that with a grad, forced grad furnace outside the wall.
Okay.
And the hot water heater will be an electric.
So the chimney will come down, and it'll be just a
You just won't see a chimney anymore.
okay, but it'll be flat, not flat, but it'll be the same angle as the rest of the roof. Is that right?
So there's no functional value to this chimney.
Any other questions of staff?
Before we proceed, can I ask if anybody's going to abstain, therefore not have sufficient votes? I will plan to
Oh,
abstain.
okay, we got four.
You got
Okay.
four I'm votes. sorry.
Well, you may have 4 votes.
Yes. It's not voted on, but I plan to abstain.
Any other? Some action will be taken?
Well, I'll move for approval, and we'll see what
Motion to
happens.
approval. Is there a second to that motion?
A second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Wow. Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Yes. Mr. Cappers?
Of course.
Mayor?
I will abstain due to my potential conflict of interest being associated with the church and the president of our council.
Okay, motion.
Let's go there.
Church
The
council.
motion does
Church
pass.
council.
Church council.
Church council.
Motion passes.
Thank you very much. Next matter on the agenda is Historic District application for 101 South Market Street. The staff have a report.
Yes. This should be fairly simple. Across the street, as you well know, where Ark and Echo currently resides in half of the first story of 101. That was divided into two sometime within the last year. Planning Commission did approve a separate entry for the second location that was created. That entryway is not going to go away, but the first floor will be put back into one tenant, which Ark and Echo is going to assume that square footage as well. Their request is to install 3 new wall signs, the colors of which will be identical to what is in place and approved across the street. 2 of those will be above each, one will be above each of the storefront windows. The third sign is a smaller sign that will go above the actual entryway going into the location. The rendering that I had for the smaller one is going to be at the end of this report. And it just simply says changing lives one arc at a time. A little further back.
Oh,
Yes. Otherwise, the language on the other 2 signs proposed are identical to what they have. Their name, Ark and Echo. Same color, same style, same
it's
type of
good.
installation.
So it's going to say Ark and Echo on 4 panels on,
Under
South
under the
Market.
gooseneck light.
okay.
It-
Gets the point across.
It does meet sign code. They do have a maximum of 100 square feet allowed because they are on a corner, and they in total fall below that square footage maximum. Staff does recommend approval.
any other questions of staff?
Move to approve.
Support.
Motion support. Any further discussion? Please call the roll.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Yes. Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Approved unanimous.
Next, we have the application for a minor modification to Kensington subdivision. Staff have a report.
Yes. Ian Bowman of Dean Bowman Construction, who is here in the audience today, on behalf of the property owner, Maxwell Bussey, is looking to make a minor modification to 1 lot only in the Kensington subdivision, section 7. And this pertains to 1347 Essex Court, and this is the only lot the modification is being requested for. The proposal is to build an addition onto the rear of this structure. It's been deemed as a sunroom, but when you look at the renderings provided, it is a very aesthetically nice, not just a prefab type of sunroom like what you might expect, otherwise. Due to the particular shape of the lot and the way the primary structure is situated on that lot, and it's one of the few that have this problem within this neighborhood. They're at just almost 0 setback as far as having any additional beyond their 30 required. So the request is to encroach the 30-foot rear setback by 7 feet. It would establish a 23-foot rear setback.
You mean they wouldn't have any leeway if they wanted to add something to the back of the
Correct.
house?
At this point in time, they would have no leeway other than to modify this.
Yeah.
As you look at the site plan and the way this would add onto the house, the 7-foot encroachment is the maximum that this would encroach. And because of the angle of the house, perpendicular to the rear lot line, that decreases down to just encroachment of 1 foot as you go. This is the only lot this would pertain to. Since Section 7 was signed into by ordinance by council in 2000, this is the only request that we've had for such a modification.
Is the property owner behind it, that 1750 lot or 1780 lot, are they aware of this?
That I do not know. They are not within the city limits.
And so this is an existing house and they want to add the sunroom to it?
Correct.
So if it's an existing house, wouldn't this be a BZA issue rather than a plot?
No.
plat?
BZA cannot hear an appeal on something that is under a plan development. Only.
Oh, it's
plan
because it's a
commission.
plan development.
Correct.
Got it.
Correct. Staff feels that this minor modification would not detract from or harm the surrounding properties and does support the request.
I'm concerned about the neighboring owner behind, and I understand they're not in the city. But one of the reasons for building setbacks is to protect the neighbors from encroaching buildings. And I've read this, but it was a week ago when I first got it. Are the owners on either side consenting to it?
That I don't know.
Not that they don't have
There's
to.
no requirement.
There's not a requirement for
I
that.
understand that. Okay.
As this won't affect the lot line requirements for the side yards. And if you look towards the rear of the report, I did include an aerial that is fairly close that does show the neighbor directly behind them that are not in the city at 1780. There is a fair amount of wooded area as well as a very lengthy rear yard setback at that location.
Yeah, they've got a pool back there, right?
Well, the one does, but the one directly behind this location where this encroachment would be the nearest, I don't see a pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually north of it. Or northeast, as you look at the picture. Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion to approve.
There's a motion to approve. Is there support for the motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? Not? Please call the roll.
Mr. Titterington?
Yes.
Mrs. Mahan? Yes. Mr. Cappers?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Wolke?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay. Next, in the other section, we've got disseminated chapter 12
That's correct.
of the planning commission. Everybody has chapter. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, Mr. Davis wanted me to make everyone aware that in Chapter 12, he did get comments from the Park Board President and the Rec Board President, and those have been incorporated into this chapter. And he wanted me to make sure that you knew that the two absent members would get the paperwork also, so they'll have that prior to the next meeting.
And we'll have it on the agenda for next meeting.
Yes.
So just to clarify this, the assumption was that the edits that you received from the chair people were logical, rational, and enhanced the document.
I'm not sure she's qualified to make that decision.
Well, just wanted to get that on the record.
And I do have one other.
Yes, go right ahead.
That is the planning and zoning workshop paperwork that you've all received too. The date's December 2nd, 2016. If any of the members would like to attend, just let the development office know and we will make sure to get you registered.
Well, thank you. Does anybody else have anything to before the commission? I have one matter. Last meeting, there was going to be a investigation as to whether or not the owner of 112 approved the the vacation of the alley off West Main Street. Has that been done yet?
Oh, that would
I'm
be
not sure if
the
it has.
restaurant. I know they were reaching out to you. We can get you that information.
May I? I had inquired and was told that Mr. Folker had indicated he would contact them. We have not received anything back as far as a signed petition, so that has not been yet forwarded to council.
Good, thank you. Anybody else have anything they want to discuss?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned.